Hello, everybody. I'm so excited. I have such an amazing woman for you today. You guys are in for a treat. All right. She's a dear friend and she's a family, which is, I don't know, even more exciting for me, but she's a powerhouse woman. And today we're going to be talking about, her journey in network marketing profession, how she's handling business as a mom, as a wife, and being one of the top income earners in her company. So, Sarah Zolecki, welcome to today's interview, and let everybody know, how did your journey started in network marketing? Did you just kind of like saw the opportunities and jump right in? It's like, oh my gosh, I'm in, or how was it?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me here today. And hi, everybody. It's good to see you. And, I'm kind of a Midwest girl. People always joke around that I'm kind of the girl next door. And my husband, Tony, and I, we live in Minneapolis, Minnesota with two little kids. And my story, it's kind of crazy. I mean, I've been involved in this profession for over 20 years. I was 21 when I first took a look at the business. And, Marina, the way that I was introduced was was a boyfriend at the time, now ex-boyfriend, obviously. I've been married to Tony for 16 years now. But he actually introduced me to the business, but it took a long time. I mean, he was involved with the company for 4 months and he never talked to me about it. And his sponsor kept saying, you should talk to your girlfriend. You should talk to your girlfriend. And I don't know what he told them, but I don't know whether he thought I wouldn't be interested or I was too busy or I don't know what. He finally did. And I fell in love with the business. I mean, I think for me, I fell in love with the people part. I love the fact that I could build amazing relationships and friendships. But I did realize pretty quickly that I had to put a lot more work into it. I thought it would become a lot, success would come a lot quicker. And it didn't. It took, not just a few months, but it took many years. But it's what I really believe it's who I am today, right? All the experiences and all the things I had to go through, it led me up to, actually even being here with you, right? I mean, that's really how I look at it. So I was never on a list of people to contact. So I tell people, like, when we talk about, putting a list together of people that you should show the business to, every single person has a Sarah Zolecki on there, but you can't prejudge her. You can't prejudge her. You can't, you can't already think, oh, she wouldn't be interested or whatever it may be, right? Let her tell you herself. And what I will probably promise you is that if you have a Sarah Zolecki, she'll say yes. And she'll absolutely fall in love with this business. And, it's all I know over the last 20 years. And I'm just so grateful that, that I've been able to experience it. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it's like you said, your overnight success that 20 years led to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Painful at times, but worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You just touched on such an interesting point, because a lot of people think that, I think because we're so afraid of the rejection, most of the time people just don't want to bother some people, either because they think they're not interested or because they're very successful, or maybe they don't think that there is a lot of potential in the person, or whatever it might be. We're somehow kind of like reserving and holding that gift to ourselves, when in the contrary, you have to tell the world. And I just realized, not everybody gonna join your team, and that's okay. Not every single person gonna tell yes, and that's okay, because we still need other professions. Everybody cannot be involved in network marketing. It's just not how it works. But make sure you keep the door open. Make sure you give the opportunity to everybody. Make sure you share the gift with everybody, and it's up to them to take the gift or not. And sometimes no does not mean that it's not ever. It means maybe not now. Maybe now is not the good time. Maybe there is some stuff going on in their life, or they're not necessarily open-minded at this particular point. But if you stay in touch, if you keep sharing with them, not pushing them, not pitching them, but hey, can I share with you what's going on in my life? Can I keep you updated? Can I keep you posted what's happening with our company or product developments or whatever? And once you get that permission, you keep talking and continue the conversation with those people. And eventually there's going to be a time when they will be more open to hear what you have to say. So this is like really, really, really cool points here. I have a question for you. Because I know a little bit your family, right? But I mean, I know your parents, but I want to know, how did you grow up? How was the mindset that you were instilled since you were a little girl? Were you told that you can achieve anything you want in life? Was kind of like you entrepreneurially kind of like driven since you were little, or what was that relationship?
So, I mean, with my mom and dad, I mean, I definitely feel, my dad is a retired mailman. My mom was a physical therapist. And then once she started having kids, then they made the decision that she would stay at home, right? And my dad was a sole provider. And, I tell people all the time, like, we grew up very middle class. We didn't have a ton of money, but I'll tell you what, we had a ton of love. And that, oh my gosh, was everything for us. And my parents are huge encouragers, and whether you want to do network marketing, whether they didn't care, they just said, hey, find something that you're really passionate at and like go like hard charging, right? Like whatever you'd love to do, like just work like crazy. And so I think, for us, when we were kids, our number one character trait that we were taught by our parents was work ethic. I mean, every single person in my family, all of my siblings and my mom and dad, we work really hard, and we don't complain about it. We love it, because I think because of the work ethic, it's the feeling of accomplishment. Like we all have that, right? And I think it's important that we all, that sense of accomplishment is so big. And so, I think for me, one of the things that really helped me just keep pushing through, just even in my business over all the years, right? And, I tell people, like, it took me 2 years to enroll one person in my business. So I wasn't an overnight success story, right? It was struggle. Like I hear people say, oh, it took me, 2 months to introduce one person. I'm like, oh, well, you're talking to the wrong girl. It took me 2 years, right? But it was that work ethic, and, I knew that if I kept, learning the skills and getting better, and as long as I was planting the seeds and doing the things that were moving my business forward each day, I knew that eventually it was going to happen. And so, I think the work ethic piece growing up was really big. I'm the oldest, right? So I think for me, it was really about, also getting a chance to go to college, which I tried. And then I realized like that really wasn't my deal. I love to learn, but I think I learn a little bit differently than the college route. And, I hope my kids go to college. I don't know if they will or not, but I think for me, it was a great experience. But I think that, with my folks, I mean, I think it was just about, do whatever you want to do, but just like work really hard at it and just like put your whole heart into it and give it all you got. Like we're not a family of doing something half-assed. Like that's just not us. It's either you do it or you find something else to do that you can pour your heart into, because life is short, right?
So when you say that you did not enroll your first person for first 2 years, and so what do you think pushed you? You said work ethic. You said that you kind of like, I can hear it in your voice that persistency is your kind of like a part of your character. But what do you think contributed, first of all, for you to stick for those 2 years and not give up? And what changed in 2 years, and when actually things started taking momentum for you? Because, I feel like when people join network marketing, in most cases, first of all, they didn't realize what they signed up for. Yeah, they don't understand it's a business. And in most cases, they're trying. Once they make a decision, that's when things start happening. But until they kind of like make that shift in the mindset and in their work ethic, they're just gonna be kind of like stumbling along the road. So what was it for you? What made the shift, and when actually some of those breakthroughs started happening?
So I think two things happened. So the first thing that happened for me is, I think that the first thing that happened is that I got mad. I got mad. I think I finally was just like, that's it. Like, okay, it's over. I'm sick of this. I'm tired of being sick and tired. I'm tired of messing around. Like, I was just like, Sarah, if you want this, like you got to go get it. You really got to go get it. And I think that I told myself that I was going to get it over all those years, but I really wasn't. Right. It's kind of like what you say when people join the business, but they don't necessarily like make that decision to like really build it as a business. Right. And I was 21. I really didn't know. I didn't have the skills. Right. I mean, I was a nanny. Right. So I didn't have a lot of, sure, I had a little bit of people skills, but I didn't know how to build a team or how to be a lead. I didn't really know what a leader meant. I didn't really understand all of that stuff. So I think because of it, I really had to take the time to grow into that. But then I do think that, I got mad and I just said, hey, like enough's enough. But I also will tell you the second piece that I did, what kept me going through those 2 years is that when I joined the business, I mean, I let people know, like, I'm doing this and I'm going to become successful. So I proclaimed myself. I was public. So because I was public, guess what that did? Like, it forced me to be accountable. It forced me where it's like, even if I wasn't making it happen at that point, right? Like really making it happen, right? As far as like big results or bigger results or any results really is that it made me go, you know what, Sarah, like I had to do it. Like I couldn't have egg on my face, right? I couldn't be the one that, I didn't want to go back to my friends or my family and say, oh, that didn't work for me. Right. I didn't want to be that. I guess it was probably a little bit of my pride and my stubbornness. But I think there's something to be said for making your goals public. Right. It holds your feet to the fire. It makes you have to show up. It makes you have to do one more call or a 3-way chat or, nowadays a Zoom or whatever. When you really don't want to, it makes you do that. And so I think that was so valuable to me because I do feel, Marina, like inside of our business, sometimes what's easy for people to do is hide out and they pretend that they're actually working and they're like, they they need to do any accountability. Where I'm like, well, guys, like you're fooling yourself because you're going to buy your own excuses on why or why not you're not doing something or doing the things you need to do to move your business forward. And so that I think the accountability piece for me and then the getting mad was what kind of probably my first big defining moments in my career.
I love it. And you guys, I see your chat and the comments, like make sure if you relate to what Sarah is saying, make sure to comment below and say, me, what was your breakthrough? Or if you did not succeed right away, what helped you to kind of like to pass through that, stumble, or what forced you to make a decision to go full out. So make sure you post in the comments and share this video because Sarah is like, she's like dropping the gold like left and right. I hope you're taking notes as well because it's really, really powerful stuff. She's a very powerful and successful woman in our profession. So make sure you're taking notes and make sure you're sharing this video with everybody else who is on your team needs to hear this. So Sarah, tell me what, you said that those two were biggest defining moments, but what do you think are your best skills or what are the talents that you have that are just like, okay, I got this, like whatever life throws your way and whatever way the solution comes through, what is that kind of like talent or strength of yours?
I am definitely a problem solver. I wasn't always, prior when I first had a chance to really work with Eric, right early on, way before you were on. I know I'd be learning this skill from you too. Was just becoming a great problem solver. Where it's like, okay, so a situation happens instead of reacting, it's learning how to act. right? Big difference. And so learning that as something comes up, you're like, okay, so that's the challenge that we have, right? I actually like to use the word challenge even better than saying problem. It just sounds better to me. So I'm like, okay, so what's the challenge we have? How do we move, how do we, move forward on this? How do we fix it? How do we rectify it? How do we move on and keep going? And so I've learned how to just really take those things and just kind of like brush them off and really not learning how to not take it personal. I think as a woman, that's probably the number one thing. Oh my gosh, that's so hard. Is it's yes, we're growing a business. Yes, we have people involved in it. So how do we do that in a way that just helps us have emotional maturity with making decisions, making good decisions, making decisions that are best for you and your team? How do you actually do tough love, right? How do you do all of that in a way that's loving, but yet firm, right? And you still being a good leader as a woman. And so I think that piece is so big, but I also think that, Marina, like I didn't wake up one day and have that. It's the years of all these incredible experiences that I've gone through, right? All the ebbs and flows, the good, the bad, all the in between that has just helped me learn how to navigate and nurture and grow a team in a really big way. Is the problem solving piece, I think is very, very big. And then I think the other thing that I've learned how to do well is I've learned how to love my team really well. And I've learned how to know their love language. And I've learned how to, really take time to really get to know them, but also at the same time, it's that fine line, right, of being that leader where, yes, you lead, yes, you get to know them, yes, they know that you love them, but also not necessarily being their very, very best friend, right? And, knowing how to do that in a way where they still feel loved and appreciated. And quite frankly, getting them to do things that they probably would have never done on their own without your guidance and your leadership, right? So I think those two things would be probably my biggest strength that I've learned over the years.
Yeah, I love it because, being a problem solver is definitely the highest paid skill in the world, not just in network marketing, but in the world in general. And actually, this is my strength as well. And I love it because, life gonna throw a lot of stuff at you. And the way you react to it, that's what's gonna define who you're gonna become and what your life gonna look like. Because it's not like, challenges and obstacles don't come in the way of successful people. They just managed those challenges and obstacles and mistakes and failures in a different way. They maybe like you said, you were not born with that skill and it took you time to develop it. So I'm sure the first couple times when you were faced with an issue, you did not quite know how to react to it and handle it properly. But with the experience, with some failures and with the successes, you learn how to, now it became like a second nature. Now you kind of like, how to get things done. And it's such a valuable skill to have, and it's such a valuable skill to master how do you teach your team to do the same thing? Because a lot of people think that they have to have resources in order to be successful. And I'm always saying it's not about the resources, it's about being resourceful. Yes. Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day. At this age, we have all Google, right? It's your new library, because when Sarah and I were growing up, we didn't have that tool. I remember times when I had to go to the library and find the information that I was looking for in the books. Now you Google and you have the answer right there in your fingertips in 2 seconds. So it's a little bit different way to get the knowledge, get your information, and get your experience, but don't get stuck. If there is something that you don't know how to solve, don't be afraid to ask questions and don't be afraid to ask for help. Because at some point in time, I'm sure you had somebody who helped you to overcome some of those challenges that you did not necessarily know how to handle. Who I know that obviously I kind of like, I don't know if I should ask that question because I know kind of like the answer to it, but who was the person in your professional career who helped you to kind of like get and have some of those defining moments and get you on the right track?
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously I would say
I know
Eric.
one of them at least.
Yeah, yeah. I would say Eric for sure. I mean, I think, that's, I think too, Marina, it's really, I love what you talked about with about reaching up and asking for help, right? I think that's really important. It's not a sign of weakness because you don't know the answer or you can't figure it out. Sometimes, you just need another set of eyes on stuff. I mean, I am not afraid even to, at the level where I'm at today, I'm always asking for another set of eyes and ears. I'm like, hey, would you mind, like, here's a situation, will you look at it, like, what are your thoughts, like, can you, is there something that I'm missing that I'm not seeing or hearing, and I want to make the best decision, or I want to say the right thing, I want, I maybe I need to see a different perspective of this, right? And so always take the initiative to reach up or to reach out or whoever. I think that's really important. And I think too, it's just just learning how to have a different perspective. When you talked about the problem solving piece, whenever there is a challenge that comes up, like the first thing for me immediately is like, how can I see a different perspective of this? Right? How can I see another way to look at it? Is there something that I'm missing? How can I, move forward with it? But, I think for me, it was for sure Eric. I'm very inspired by him because I think one of the most amazing traits that he has is he doesn't flinch on stuff. Like he just doesn't, or he never did in front of me, right? I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, he was awesome, right? I mean, he just never flinched, and so I just learned that, and I think too, when you talk about teaching your team how to have these skills, it's not necessarily always teaching them, but they see how you act, right? It's like the same thing as parenting, right? You could tell your kids all this stuff, right? But if they see you acting a different way or acting a certain way, they're going to emulate that. They're going to do that, right? And so, there were situations that I saw him go through that I was so inspired, and I was like, you know what? Like, I need to take on that. I need to take that on, right? And so I just learned how to, really just be steady Eddie and take a breath and count from 10 to 1 and not overreact and not take things personal, right? I see a lot of women, oh my gosh, girls, this kills us, is they automatically, like, if there's a certain situation that happens, they automatically assume like, oh my gosh, it's about them. And I'm like, well, if you're feeling guilty, maybe it is about you. But if you're not, like if it's not, like, don't worry about it, right? I think I see a lot of girls, they jump so fast and react to things where I'm like, listen, you got to take a breath. You know what I mean? You got to take a minute. Like, you're killing me right now, right? And so it's learning how to take a step back, take a deep breath, see another perspective, see your blind spots, right, that you might have, and then obviously then move forward.
Right. I think it's so important. I think one of the kind of like characteristics of like really successful people is they know that they don't know all the answers. Yeah. They know there is so much more room to grow. There is so much more stuff for them to learn and become better. Because as soon as you get to the level when you think you're the smartest person in the room, I think it's a very, very dangerous place to be because, yes, we all love the law of association when we understand that you want to be, you will be an average of 5 people that you're spending most of your time with. But the secret to this law, you don't want to be the top of that 5. You want to be at the bottom of that 5 every single time. Because if you are the smartest person in the room, then guess what? You have no room to grow. You have nobody, no role model who can, first of all, help you and teach you and guide you, but also somebody who can push you. In that stage, everybody gonna be pulling you down. You need to be always in the circles when people pulling you up, when people kind of like forcing you and pushing you and just like, come on, Sarah, you're playing small. I know you're a rock star. I know you guys just got the $1 Million Hall of Fame award, which is so awesome, and congratulations. But you guys can do so much more, so much better. So, having people like this in your life is a big deal and very important. But guess what? I want to shift gears a little bit because, Sarah, I mean, it's like if you put in comments below. I was like, she is so amazing. She's such a rock star. And guess what? She's speaking at the Most Powerful Women in Network Marketing event that it's happening in May 14th, 16th. And if you haven't got your ticket yet, if you haven't registered yet, why not? The event is absolutely free. I know my team is calling me crazy. Everybody's calling me crazy because like, God, I mean, it's a 3-day of a powerhouse speakers, an amazing lineup and value, and it's totally free. So make sure you register. And my team going to be putting the link below, but and they're going to be links all over the place here. But it's mpw2021.com, like Most Powerful Women. mpw2021.com. So Sarah, I know you and I didn't talk about that, but you know the theme of the event, right? The goal of the event is to help people to close the gap, right? A lot of people know what they're supposed to be doing. And some of them mastered the skills and know the skills, but for some reason, they cannot push themselves through that line and actually start doing what they know. So what do you think your strengths and your skills that you would love to teach at the women's event so people can get like a little glimpse of how would you help them to close that gap?
Oh my goodness, that's a big question. Okay, so well, first of all, I am so happy that you do this event. I mean, prior to you starting this event, there really wasn't a women's event in network marketing and direct sales, right? I mean, there was kind of some smaller ones here and there, but not on a big global scale. And, I'm so grateful because, when I first started in network marketing for a long time, and it was great, but every single mentor that I had, Marina, was a man. Every single one. And I think one of the challenges that I had for a long time is that I didn't realize I was trying to emanate them. I didn't know that subconsciously, right? So I couldn't figure out, why am I stuck? Why is this so hard? Why is this like, and I couldn't figure out because I wasn't showing up as Sarah. Like I had like submerged like all the feminine, all the good stuff, right? That we have as women. And I tried to be so masculine and I tried to have, and I didn't realize I was doing it, right? I didn't know any better. It's just kind of like you talk about the law of association, right? It's who I was surrounded by, which at the time, thank God that I had something, right? Better than nothing. But I'm just so grateful for this event because I think about, oh my gosh, if I would have had an event like this for the first 10 years of my business, oh my gosh, like so much, there's so much pain I probably would have never gone through but I just didn't know, right? And so I'm just grateful for the people that are going to have the opportunity to go to this event for the very first time, because there's so much women mentorship here, right? Where it's 3 days of people, you're just getting poured into and loved on and tough love and kind of kicked around and then pulled back up and then hugged on again and then cheered on and then, you know what I mean? Like all the above, right? But, that's what I think is so incredible here. And so, when you had asked me to speak, number one, I was just like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Like what a beautiful thing. I tell people, if you don't have a vision board, you need to make sure you get one, because I promise you the things that you put on that board, oh my gosh, so many of them, if not all of them, definitely can happen. And this is one of them for me. And, I think, closing the gap, right, of kind of like, who you are and where you want to be is such a big piece. And, obviously for me being in network marketing, like I definitely want to talk about network marketing, right? And feeling like I really want to kind of share with you guys just some of the moments for me that I kind of had to take, just take a step back and really look at, okay, so how do you look at being in the middle of your business? I think that's really important because for most of us, like we spend like if you look at like a story, right? You've got the beginning, middle, and end. Well, what's typically the longest? The middle, right? And that's the same thing in our career, is that you've got the middle piece, but sometimes in the middle, it can seem like kind of fuzzy and foggy and you can't figure out, why you're struggling, right? Why it's, what are the things that you might be going through that you don't necessarily understand. But I want to talk to you about like, what are the tools that I learned, the coping skills, right? That I learned to help me just keep on pushing through, right? What does that look like? And helping people understand that being in the middle is not a bad thing, right? Being in the middle is the part when you don't necessarily feel like doing more, but you need to do it anyways, right? Being in the middle is a time not for you to feel intimidated. Don't be intimidated by the middle. Most of us, that all of you guys that are watching, most of us, we're all in the middle right now of our business, right? We really are. But it's not the time to be scared or be intimidated. And it's just learning how to equip you with some of those tools to just to keep on keeping on, right? Until you get those bigger results that you want on the other side of it. So I'm just grateful for the event. We have it all over the place already with promotional stuff. And the fact that it's free is just ridiculous. I mean, I'm so grateful that you even, made that decision where, quite frankly, it's worth thousands and thousands of dollars. And so we're just honored that you're opening it up to everybody across the globe.
Yeah, I mean, it's like my goal with this event is just, first of all, I want to make the biggest splash in the world, not just in the network marketing profession, but in the world, because with the Virtual Go Pro, we had the largest virtual event in the world, virtual interactive event, not just the basic live stream, but actual interactive 3-day event. It was the largest event in the world. And people are already kind of like talking about it, but not so much yet. But imagine if we have 150,000 people, 200,000 people at this event. Do you think the whole world gonna notice? Do you think the whole world gonna start asking questions like, what is going on over there? It's like, who are these people? What is that network marketing thing? And people who were laughing at you at some point, now all of a sudden gonna start treating it more seriously, or at least be open-minded to have another conversation. What exactly are you doing? How are you making the change in your life and other people's life? And now imagine all of that is led by women. Man, I have goosebumps. I'm just so excited because
awesome.
I don't know. I hope you guys see my passion and excitement because I want to make history. No joke. I want to make history. I want to create the biggest, the most powerful and the most exciting and most valuable event in our profession. And I want to be it led by women because we are capable of so much more that we give ourselves credit for. And now is the time to play big. Now is the time to stop apologizing for being a woman. Now's the time to stop apologizing for not knowing all the answers or for, having the time that you need to spend with your kids or whatever. I want you to start playing full out, and I want you to stop dimming your light because of somebody else's insecurity. So, Sarah, to bring us home, close it up for people who looking at you and saying like, oh my gosh, she's so powerful, she's so smart, she is so, experienced. I want to be like her, but how? What would be your kind of like a 30-second advice for people who are just getting started, but want to achieve a higher level of success inside of our profession?
So I think the first thing you have to do is you have to make a decision, like, who do you want to become? Like, if you were like your ideal person, like, what does that look like, right? Get out a piece of paper and write down, like, what are all the attributes that if you were, like if you were kind of like, like who are you inspired by? Right? Who are you inspired by? Who do you inspire to be? And I did that. I wrote all those things down and I started acting as those things long before I was even there. And I wasn't faking it. I was just, I knew that if I started acting like these things, that I was going to start attracting better people. And understand too, I tell people, you just got to just start, right? You just got to start. Marina, like, I know that English isn't your first language. I mean, when you first started learning English, like, I don't know, were you fluent in a day? No. Were you fluent in a week? Were you fluent in a month or a year? Right? And that's what happens in this business is they get in this business and they're like, the first month you're not making $5,000. You're like, this business sucks. I suck. You reevaluate what's wrong with me. I'm like, nothing's wrong with you. Right? And so here you've got to be willing to cut yourself some slack and not necessarily put a deadline on your business. And just every day you have to go, am I better today than I was yesterday? Like legit, am I better today than I was yesterday? And if the answer is yes, awesome. If the answer is no, then take inventory, see what you need to do better, right? What can you learn from that day and keep going. And for me, it's just one step and, one foot in front of the other every day and focusing on those things. and you'll start growing and you'll start getting better and just understanding it, well, again, the fluency of being, fluent in this business is going to take a little bit. But here's what's cool. I love what Jim Rohn talks about. He's like, guys, there's only a few fundamentals in this business. And once you got it, you got it, right? Once you got it, you got it. And so it's just learning those skills and then, soon it's going to be second nature. And that's really where I'm like, oh my gosh, if I could, take you guys back all these years in time, number one, you'd be super inspired and you'd be like, hell, if she can do it, I'm going to kill this thing. Right. But number two, it's just to know like, oh my gosh, like, okay, but she kept going and she kept doing and she kept growing. And I've just learned how to, I don't know, I'm very attracted to growing. Like you said, it's never that feeling of you've arrived. It's never that feeling of, not growing. For me, it's that place of like, I've learned how to fall in love with being uncomfortable. Like, I know that if I'm in a comfortable spot, I'm in trouble. So it's learning how to consistently stay uncomfortable, right? That's going to help us grow and have more success. And again, that just takes time, right? So just get started. Understand it's going to take a while, right? To really get, great at this business. But it's also too, just getting plugged in with great mentorship. And obviously this event, oh my gosh, you guys, you're going to have mentors after mentors after mentors that you're going to learn from in this 3-day event. I mean, and it's free. I mean, please, come on. So, so anyway, so I just appreciate you having me on, Marina, and I'm just so inspired by you and just thankful for you and just putting on this event. And I know it's not it's a big feat to say the least, but it's going to be incredible.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And everybody, make sure to register. It's going to be such a powerful event. I still have a lot of really cool announcements that are coming up. Some of those speakers that we're working on and finalizing the agreements with. Oh my gosh, wait till you hear those names. It's just like freaking believable. On top of all of our network marketing rock stars, the other speaker is going to be like super fun and super powerful. So make sure to register. It's mpw2021.com. Make sure every single person on your team registers, not just your active distributors, but every single person on your team, because first of all, they have nothing to lose. It's free, absolutely free. But also make sure they show up. Not just register and forget about it. Make sure to put it on your calendar and make sure that you actually clear the deck so you can dedicate those 3 days for you. You can dedicate, because Eric and I were spending multi-7 figures on this event. For you, it's absolutely free. I'm doing my part to pour into you. I'm doing my part to change the profession. I'm doing my part to help you become successful, but you have to do your part. You have to register. You have to help me promote. You have to make sure that you and your team show up with notebooks and ready to take it to the next level. So mpw2021.com. Make sure you register. Make sure you share this video with every single person on your team, because they're going to get a lot of value from what Sarah was sharing here. Sarah, thank you so much for spending some time with me today and everybody else, because I know you're super busy and you have a lot of stuff going on and you have a large team to lead. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it and cannot wait to see you crush it at the women's event. Love you, girl. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye, guys.